Escape. Escape tonight to a fabulous world where there is a diamond as big as the Ritz.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the third, is The Diamond as Big as the Ritz by F. Scott Fitzgerald, produced and directed by William N. Robeson.
In a country as large as ours, there are many odd and wonderful corners hidden away, but none more fabulous and wonderful than the one conceived in the imagination of F. Scott Fitzgerald and located in the pages of his famous short story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. It is described in the words of John Unger, 20 years old, impressionable, and quite willing to swear to the truth of this whole strange affair.
I'd been going to the St. Midas Prep School for a couple of years, and this was my second summer vacation. I'd met this fellow Percy Washington during the winter and got to be pretty good friends with him. Only I didn't know about his family or where he came from or anything like that. Of course, I knew he must be rich, because all the fellas at St. Midas come from wealthy families. So when he invited me to spend the summer at his home out west someplace, that was okay by me. Well, we'd been on the train overnight when he first mentioned it. I don't even remember now what led up to it. We'd been talking about first one thing and then another. Exactly where is your home, Percy? I mean, you bought the train tickets and all.
It's in Montana, sort of.
Montana? Oh, yes. It's pretty wild country, isn't it?
Some of it is.
Well, now, you take Hades, Missouri, where I come from. It's been settled for 150 years. One of the first towns on the Mississippi River.
Indeed.
Oh, sure.
That's very interesting.
Well, I sure do appreciate you not making jokes about it. You know, the way some of the fellas do when I say, I come from Hades. Why, my father's plantation stretches from...
John, do you know that my father is the richest man in the world?
Oh?
By far the richest?
Well, I read about a man that paid taxes on a $5 million income.
Small fry. If my father paid tax on his real income, he'd disrupt the whole economy of the United States.
No kidding. I like rich people. And the richer a fella is, the better I like him.
My father could buy out all the millionaires in the country and not even know he'd done it.
Is that a fact? Well, I visited the Schlitzer Murphys once. They're plenty rich. Why, their daughter Vivian's got rubies as big as hen's eggs. And sapphires that glow like headlamps.
I like jewels. Always have. I used to collect them instead of stamps.
And diamonds. Why, the Schlitzer Murphys had diamonds as big as walnuts.
Oh, that's nothing.
Huh?
Nothing at all. My father has a diamond as big as the Ritz. Please, I'm not joking.
But you mean as big as the Ritz-Carlton Hotel?
Exactly. My father has a diamond as big as the Ritz.
Well, from there on, it was something like a dream. We got off the train about dusk at a little whistle stop called Fish, Montana. There wasn't anything there, not even a station. Just a broken-down old buggy and 4 or 5 sheep herders lounging beside the track and, I suppose, wondering who we were. Anyway, Percy and I climbed into the buggy, and without saying a word, the driver cracked his whip, and off we went. I don't know how far we traveled. We didn't seem to be following any road. And after an hour or so, it got dark. But the driver kept right on, never saying a word.
I hope you'll pardon this inconvenience, John, but we have to take certain precautions, you know.
Oh, that's all right.
Anyway, we're almost there.
Your home, you mean?
Oh, no, to the place where we consider it safe to transfer.
Transfer? What do you mean?
There's the signal now.
Headlights.
Pull up the horse, Absam. Here we are.
An automobile. But how? Well, there's no road.
Oh, this car's specially built. Doesn't need roads.
Welcome home, master.
Good evening, Gigsum. Well, come on, John. Let's get in.
But that door opened by itself.
Sonically controlled, you know.
Gosh. Hey, what's this car made out of? Silver?
No, platinum. And those are emeralds in the hubcaps.
And the upholstering. It's fur.
Mink.
You're ready, master.
Anytime, Gigsum. You've probably noticed the exceptional brightness of the headlights. The lenses are cut from diamonds.
Boy, what a car.
And this old junk heap, we use it for a station wagon.
What are we stopping for? This is just a deserted canyon.
Oh, we're not there yet, John. It's a little further. Wait, you'll see.
Hello, Clark! Lower away!
Percy, what's that? That noise.
They're sending the hooks down.
Hooks.
Yes, to attach to the wheels. You know, that's what Gigsum is doing now.
But
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention. Gigsum will look after you during the visit.
Look after me?
Your personal valet. Of course, there'll be other slaves available, too, whenever you need them.
Do you have a lot of slaves?
Oh, 300 or 400, I suppose. Oh, all ready, Gigsum?
Yes, master. Hello! Haste away!
Hey, look! Look, we're leaving the ground.
Yes, there's a hoist up there on top of the cliff. Has cables about 1/4 of a mile long.
But what for?
Oh, it's the only way in.
Imagine hoisting an automobile 1/4 of a mile up the side of a cliff.
It's nothing, really. As you may have guessed, John, this is not going to be like anything you ever saw before in your life. Well, John, there it is.
That's your home? Oh, it's magnificent. Palatial.
It's not a bad little place.
How big is it?
I suppose you mean the number of rooms. I think it's around 140. But Father may remember exactly. Then, of course, there are other buildings. Slaves' quarters and things.
Why hasn't anybody ever found out about it? This place, I mean.
Well, for one thing, it's the only 5 square miles in the United States that have never been surveyed.
Huh? Why not?
Oh, things were arranged.
I don't see how that's possible.
Believe me, it hasn't been easy. I understand Grandfather had to bribe 3 government bureaus, a vice president, and half of Congress once to keep this place off of the maps.
Oh, but surely somebody stumbled onto it. Prospectors, people like that?
Oh, yes, that happens occasionally. Then, of course, we have to arrange things.
You mean...
Not always. Usually we just take them prisoner and keep them. Same as the aviators.
Oh, planes come here?
Well, once in a while they fly over. Of course, they never get away. We have 9 anti-aircraft batteries around the hill here.
You shoot them down?
Oh, yes, great sport. It does upset Mother a bit, though. And there's always a chance that one might get away. That's Father's greatest worry.
Well, this place... This whole thing, it's fantastic.
Oh, come now, John. I picked you for a fellow with his feet on the ground. And you haven't seen anything yet, you know. This is only the beginning.
And it was only the beginning. We crossed the acres of lawn and entered the great chateau. And from that moment on, vision upon vision tumbled together in a gigantic kaleidoscope of color, symmetry, and exquisite harmony. Where there were corridors lined with gleaming crystals, lit by lamps cut from emerald. And there were great halls carpeted with chinchilla fur and ermine, and some with floors of clear transparency, flaming in the shifting glow of a myriad-colored fire beneath them. And there was a white-haired man, pink-faced and pleasant, who was Percy's father, and a lovely lady with dark hair piled high on her head like a fragile queen, who was Percy's mother. Soft music came from hidden places. Perfumes filled the air, exotic foods and wines more rare than pearls. And finally, sitting in my chair in the great banquet hall, I quietly fell asleep. I thought there could be no more nor greater wonders. I was wrong. There were many more and greater ones. And one of them I discovered the next morning in the garden.
Hello there.
Huh? Oh, you're lovely.
My name is Kismine. You're John Unger, and you're a friend of my brother. Are you from the East?
No. Well, at least not exactly. I'm from Hades.
Oh.
Missouri.
Would you like to sit down here on the grass?
Well, yeah, sure I would.
I'm going east to school this fall. Do you suppose I'll like it?
I think so. Of course, it'll be different from all this.
Well, that's what Jasmine says, and she's in the East now. I've never been outside.
Who's Jasmine?
My sister. She's older than I am.
I hope you won't be offended, but well, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
Yes, I know.
What?
I surprised you, didn't I? A year ago, I would have said thank you. But Father says it's very necessary to learn to take things for granted. So now I just take it for granted that I'm beautiful, you see?
You're pretty sophisticated, aren't you?
Oh, I'm not at all. I think sophisticated young people are terribly common. I'm not a bit like that.
No, I didn't really mean it. I only said it to tease you.
Well, I'm glad. I wouldn't want you to think anything like that. Why, I don't smoke or drink even. And I never read a thing except poetry.
I was only kidding.
I believe girls should enjoy their youth in a wholesome sort of way.
Oh, so do I.
I like you, John. I wish you'd spend some of your time with me this summer, not all with Percy.
Oh, I will, Kismine. I will.
You may be in love with me if you'd like to. I'm absolutely fresh ground, you know.
I am in love with you.
But of course we'll have to meet secretly. My parents wouldn't permit it if they knew.
Well, then that's what we'll do.
Well, I have to go now. I'm supposed to be with Mother at 11. Aren't you going to ask me for a kiss? Jasmine says boys always do nowadays.
Well, some of them do, but not me. We don't expect nice girls to do that sort of thing in Hades. It was a funny thing. Percy's family were polite, friendly, always smiling. And yet all the time I had a feeling that some terrible and golden mystery lay hidden just around the corner. A few days after I'd met Kismine, Percy remarked casually that an unusual event had occurred. A man had escaped from the cage. I didn't know what he meant then. But the next morning I was walking with Percy's father on the grounds of the estate.
The slaves' quarters are there, Mr. Unger.
Oh. Yes, they're very nice.
Well, they're adequate. During one period of my youth, I became absurdly idealistic and allowed them to live in luxury. I even equipped their rooms with tile baths.
I suppose they use the bathtubs to keep coal in. Mr. Schlitzer Murphy told me
I should
once...
imagine the opinions of Mr. Schlitzer Murphy are of little importance. They did not use the tubs for coal. They bathed in them. Unfortunately, several caught cold and died. So, of course, I had the baths removed. Shall we move on?
Mr. Washington, Percy said something about a man escaping from the cage. I didn't quite get it.
The cage, eh? Well, perhaps you'd like to see it. It might prove interesting just as a novelty. It's over here.
These trees. Hey, they're 60 feet tall, and they have roses blooming all over them.
Rather interesting development by a Swiss botanist. They are the only ones in the world.
I'll be darned. Though I suppose you'll see them all over the country in a few years, huh?
No, these are the only ones. That was arranged. Here we are. The cage.
It's a pit dug in the ground. And a grating on top.
Oh, yes, it's not really a cage, except in a certain sense. Well, boys, how are you getting along?
Come on down here and see. Yeah, throw him in, buddy. Go ahead.
How many men are down there?
About 50, as I recall.
Who are they?
Oh, aviators we've shot down, wandering prospectors, men of that sort.
Yes, but why are they kept there?
They've all had the common misfortune of having discovered El Dorado. Gentlemen,
What's he want?
I'm sure you'd like to know that your companion who departed without my permission has been taken care of.
We know what you mean, you.
He was shot He was shot by some of my agents in 14 different places. Golf, Mr. Unger?
They found him then? The man who got away?
Those places were towns. My agents were over eager. None of them could offer a positive identification. I'm afraid the man may still be at large. So you see, it's not all utopia here. We do have our difficulties.
Isn't it a little unnecessary holding them like that?
Well, not at all. It's the only way to keep this place hidden.
Yes, I guess that must be important. Percy was telling me something on the train. I thought he was just kidding. But he said you had a diamond as big as the Ritz-Carlton Hotel.
Oh, yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, it's much bigger than the Ritz. Much bigger.
Well, summer went on, and I was more and more in love with Kismine. Oh, she was priceless, exquisite, like no other girl in the world. After a couple of weeks, I'd kissed her, of course, and I was really in love for the first time. Oh, I should have known. I should have put two and two together when Percy's father showed me the cage. But I didn't until one morning late in the summer, I'd slipped off with Kismine to the rose garden. Kismine, I think we ought to elope.
Oh, I don't know. It would be much nicer to be married here. But then it would be more romantic to elope.
Yeah, all the Sunday supplements would write stories about fabulous heiress elopes with... You are fabulous, you know.
I knew an heiress from Omaha once. I don't think you'd like her. She visited my sister here.
Oh, you've had other guests then, huh?
Well, yes, we've had a few.
Wasn't your father ever afraid they might talk outside?
To some extent. Oh, let's talk about something pleasanter.
What's so unpleasant about it?
Well, I grew quite fond of some of them.
You mean they told and your father...
Oh, they didn't get a chance to. Father had to be sure.
Oh, but that's murder.
What else could we do? In the cage, well, they'd have been a constant reproach to us. And Father does it so nicely. They're always drugged in their sleep, and then we tell their families they died of scarlet fever in Butte. I'm not sure how that affects the statistics there.
Of all the horrible...
Oh, it is not. After all, it'd be terribly boring here without ever having anybody. Why, Father and Mother have sacrificed some of their best friends.
Well, you're no better than the... Well, then, that's what they plan to do with me.
Oh, couldn't you forget it? And be nice to me until you're put away. It's only for 2 or 3 weeks.
You'd go on this way, kissing, talking about love, when you know I'm not much better than a corpse?
You're not a corpse. You're not. I won't have you saying I kissed a corpse.
Oh, that wasn't what I said.
You did, too.
I did not.
You said
Just
that...
a moment.
Father.
Who kissed a corpse?
Well, nobody. We were joking.
You two haven't any business here anyway. Kismine, go read, go play golf. Don't let me find you here when I come back.
Yes, Father.
Good day, children.
You see? Now he knows. You've spoiled everything. You don't really love me.
Kismine, you... Look, tell me, what's the reason for all this secrecy? What if you are rich and have this place? Why would it be so terrible if anybody found out about it?
Why, it's on account of the diamond, of course.
Diamond? What is this diamond all of you talk about?
Well, it's the... Oh, you'd better ask Percy. I'm always getting things mixed up.
Well, I will ask him. And another thing, I'm getting out of here tonight if I have to dig through the mountains. I'm going back east.
Take me with you.
No.
Why not?
Kismine, dear, your father wouldn't permit it.
If you won't take me, I'll go tell him I want to marry you.
No, you can't do that. He'd bump me off this afternoon.
Oh, please take me, darling. We'll be terribly poor and very happy. And I'll cook things for you. Oh, herbs and berries and things. Won't that be fun? You will, won't you, John?
Well, my head was really in a whirl. This whole thing was fantastic. And so was the family, even Kismine. I couldn't think of anything to do, but... Well, I rushed to see Percy.
But, John, why didn't you ask me before?
Because I thought you were kidding all the time.
I know you wouldn't have believed me if I'd told you.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to believe anything now.
Well, it was Grandfather who started the whole thing. Purely by accident. He came out here from Virginia after the war between the states and stumbled onto it.
Onto what?
The diamond. That's what made this all possible, of course. Grandfather spent 2 years going around to different cities of the world selling bits of it. Then he started building this place. He put his money in jewels. But Father found that radium took much less space.
Yeah, but why the secrecy?
Oh, it just wouldn't do if anyone found out. Ruin the economy of the world. The thing's too big.
And this has been going on for 3 generations, then. The cage and this thing of inviting friends.
Oh, yes. You see, there wasn't really any danger before airplanes. They are what worry us.
You knew when you invited me here what would happen.
Please, John. I thought you'd be more sensible about it. After all, you can see my position.
Oh, yeah. Well, where is it? Where do you keep this diamond that's caused so cockeyed much trouble?
Oh, I thought you'd guessed. You've noticed the hill the chateau stands on.
Yes.
It contains a cubic mile. And, except for a thin covering of dirt, it's one big, solid diamond.
It was nearly midnight. I don't know what woke me, but all of a sudden I was staring across the patches of moonlight spotting the ermine carpet of my bedroom. Staring at 3 slaves I'd never seen before. They just slipped inside the door and stood there, each with a vicious length of shiny copper wire. The official executioners. I lay there on the bed watching them, counting heartbeats, not daring to move, not daring not to move. They didn't know I'd wakened, and they began edging across the room.
Come on, all 3 of you. There's no time now for this. All hell's broken loose. Hurry!
I took one long, deep breath, the first one in several moments, and then I was out of the bed in an instant, throwing on my clothes and dashing through the long crystal corridor to Kismine's room. Kismine, are you awake?
John, over here by the window. So they woke you up, too.
If you mean 3 of your father's slaves.
Oh, no, airplanes.
Airplane? So that's what it is.
At least a dozen. I saw them crossing against the moon. Oh, look, they're circling way over there.
You think they're here on purpose?
Oh, yes. They dropped warnings to Father. It's that man who got away from the cage, you know.
Oh, good for him.
Yes, wasn't he clever? Well, I think we'll open up on them any second now.
Open up?
Yes, our anti-aircraft. Oh, this is going to be thrilling.
Thrilling.
Oh, look, they're in range now. Bravo! Bravo!
Kismine, get away from that window.
Oh, good heavens, did you see that?
Yes, and we've got to get out of here. Can't you understand? They'll bomb the chateau next.
I know. There's a little grove across on the side of the mountains. We always keep one of the cars there. Oh, we have a nice view of everything.
A nice view. Kismine, you don't seem to understand. They mean business. They're out to finish off you and your whole family.
Oh, but it all seems so silly. Oh, when you come right down to it, they've never even met us. What time is it, John? Is it morning yet?
I don't know. I've lost my watch. Seems to be getting lighter, all right.
It's quieter, too.
Now, they've knocked out your father's guns. Every last one of them. Won't be long now.
Oh, it seems such a shame. The family'd put so much work on the place. Everything's always been so pleasant.
Yeah. Well, you better get some sleep, Kismine. I'm going to walk down the path a little ways.
Oh, you'll come back.
Yes, Kismine. I'll come back. At the edge of the wood, I stopped and looked out across the valley toward the wrecked chateau standing on its diamond hill in the center. The bombing had stopped. The planes droned over the far rim of the plateau, seeking some sort of formation. Then, on a little knoll just below me, 3 men appeared suddenly from the underbrush. The first one strode imperiously ahead, and the other 2 bore a heavy burden between them. It was Mr. Washington and 2 of the slaves. I stepped behind a rock and stood motionless, watching them.
All right. This is far enough. We'll stop here. Now, hoist it up. Hold it there. Both together. Easy now. There.
The burden they held up to the heavens was an immense diamond, cut and polished, catching the first faint rays of the dawn and gleaming like a fragment of the morning star.
Now, you out there. You there.
I could see no one else anywhere in view.
You above there. I want you to understand this is only a sample. I'll give you 1,000, cut as fine. set in pedestals of platinum. And I'll build you a temple 1,000 feet high, cast of solid gold. And on the top of it, I'll put one diamond 100 feet across, set there forever to catch the rays of your sun.
A thought began to dawn on me. I couldn't believe it.
I'll letter your name on the temple in emeralds, and I'll see that the whole world worships at its base. All you have to do is make everything the way it was before.
Mr. Washington was offering a bribe to God. He stopped talking, and the three of them stood there, looking up at the heavens, waiting for an answer. And then at the far end of the valley, out of those same silent heavens, blossomed the white puffs of parachutes. The man who tried to bribe God looked up and saw them, became old in an instant, and turning with lowered head, walked down the path toward the chateau. With sudden premonition, I whirled and headed for the spot where I'd left Kismine. Kismine in the car that needed no roads.
Haven't we gone far enough, John?
I suppose. We're 10 miles from the chateau.
Oh, it's all so hectic. Just rushing about and losing sleep and everything.
Hand me those field glasses.
Here they are. Well, can you see anything?
No. Wait.
What is it?
It's your father and mother. And Percy. Yes, and the two slaves, still carrying that big diamond. Oh, wait. They're going in a tunnel down below the chateau. So that's it. They've got an underground escape.
No, I remember now. The mountain's wired. Some kind of atom bomb.
Atomic bomb.
Oh, that's it. Father's had it for years. He always said it would disintegrate the whole works, diamond and all. Of course, he only regarded it as a last resort.
So he'd rather have it like that. Well, they're all inside the tunnel now. The troopers are moving in.
I don't suppose there's really anything to be done about it now.
And there wasn't.
I keep thinking about things the way they were. It was all so pleasant. Oh, I don't suppose it will be ever exactly like that again.
Not ever, Kismine. And maybe it never was. Youth's a time for dreaming, and dreams die, too.
I'll probably have to take in washing. But, of course, we'll be very happy. What will we do, John?
Do? Oh, we can love a while underneath the stars. That's a form of divine drunkenness we can all try. And then there may be other diamonds in the world. Who knows? And even though it's a shabby gift, there's always disillusion. Turn up your collar, Kismine, before you catch pneumonia. Let's go to sleep.
The Diamond as Big as the Ritz by F. Scott Fitzgerald was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Jack Edwards Jr. as John, Danny Merrill as Percy, and Linda Mason as Kismine. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to the China Seas with Joseph Conrad in his gripping story of a typhoon. And so, good night until next week at this time, when it will again be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Escape. Escape tonight to the China Seas in Typhoon.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the fourth, is Typhoon by Joseph Conrad, produced and directed by William N. Robeson.
Of all the great authors who wrote of the sea, none so captured the wonder and the horror of it as did Joseph Conrad. Tonight, we escape to the China Seas in his great story, Typhoon, told in the words of a certain Mr. Jukes, chief mate of the China coast steamer Nan Shan, a young man of very remarkable perceptions.
I've been sailing the China Sea long enough to see some strange and terrible things, but nothing as bad as that was. Why, God himself forgot us, and the whole blinking universe set out to do us in that night. It was the... Oh, but that comes later. I guess you can't really understand what happened on board the Nan Shan without knowing something about our skipper, Captain McWhirr. Stupid McWhirr, I called him. And after sailing with him for 3 years, I ought to know what I'm talking about. Why, I tagged him right off, first day he came aboard to take command. In Liverpool it was. And Mr. Siggs, who was one of the owners, was showing him around the deck.
There's no more modern ship afloat. I might say again that you've come to us very highly recommended, Captain McWhirr. We've a great deal of confidence in you.
Thank you, Mr. Siggs.
She's a brand new ship and a good ship. There's no reason why you shouldn't continue in command of her as long as you like.
Well, that's fine.
She'll be the smartest thing afloat in the China trade. Why, she's put together like a Swiss watch. Precision built from stem to stern.
Wait, just a minute, Mr. Siggs.
What is it?
That lock.
Lock? What lock?
Here, on the cabin door.
What about it?
You'll notice how it's been set in the frame, somewhat cocked at an angle. The ship starts rolling a bit, and the first thing you know, it snaps open and leaves the door swinging. It really should be fixed, Mr. Siggs.
That's Captain McWhirr, the best berth he'd ever had. New command, a brand new ship. When instead of pinching himself to see if he's awake, he complains about a lock on the cabin door.
Yes,
See what I mean?
Captain McWhirr, I see what you mean. I'll have it attended to right away. I think you'll do all right.
Thank you, Mr. Siggs.
Well, everybody knows what the China coast is. You haul out of Bangkok for a quick run up to Singapore and then shove off for Hong Kong. 2 days ashore, and you do it all over again. 3 years of it. 3 years of heat, smells, weather, copra, silk, and tea. Along in there somewhere, the owners decided to transfer the ship's registry to the Siamese flag. Don't ask me why. They just did, that's all. Anyway, I can tell you I didn't like it. When you grow up under the Union Jack, you figure to go on sailing under it. Not that the skipper, of course, could understand that kind of a feeling. Oh, no. Not old stupid McWhirr.
Aye? What is that, Mr. Jukes?
They just sent the new flag out from shore, sir. Here it is.
Oh, fine, fine. Unroll it. Let's have a look. Ah, yes.
In my opinion, sir, it's a queer kind of flag for a man to sail under.
Oh, and what's the matter with it?
Well, it just looks queer to me, that's all.
Well, now, let's see. A white elephant on a red field. Oh, just a minute. I'll look it up in the book. Here we are. Siam. White elephant on a field of bright red. Length exactly twice the breadth. So. Well, there's nothing wrong with this flag, Mr. Jukes.
Oh, isn't there?
Not a thing. I hardly thought there could be. After all, these people ought to know how to make their own flag. It stands to reason.
Does it now?
You must have it confused with some other flag, Mr. Jukes.
Well, all I can say is...
Of course, you'll have to take care the seamen don't hoist the elephant upside down. That is, before they're quite used to it. I presume it might be taken for a signal of distress. And in that case, well, the way I see it, that elephant stands for something like the nature of a Union Jack in the British flag.
Oh, you think so? Well, it's like a bloomin' Noah's Ark. That's what it is.
Mr. Jukes.
I'm sorry, sir.
I can't see where the color of a flag could anywise affect the navigation of a ship.
All right, sir. I'll instruct the hands. It'd certainly be a most distressful sight to see that elephant hoisted upside down. Well, that was Captain McWhirr. Couldn't get a thing through his head if you drew him a picture. And that's the skipper we had to sail under on the maddest, wildest trip that any coaster ever took. We were loading out in Singapore. Half the cargo had already come aboard. The sun was blazing, and the smoke from our stacks hung over the decks like a blanket. The Nanshan's winches puffed away aft, and cargo chains creaked and clattered across the coamings. I was in the waist supervising the loading when Mr. Rout, the chief engineer, came up to me.
Hey there, Jukes. What's going on down there on the dock? Looks like a bloomin' army.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Rout. Must be a mob of coolies on the move.
Here comes the captain. Could be some of his doing.
Mr. Dukes.
Aye, sir.
Keep the forward tween deck clear of cargo. There'll be 200 coolies coming aboard, and we'll plan to bank them down there.
Good Lord, where are they bound?
Foochow. We'll have to put in there this trip.
Yeah, but we're not fixed to handle passengers, sir.
Oh, they'll bring supplies aboard with them. Every man's got a camphor wood chest, so you'll have to nail deck battens down there to keep them from sliding.
Yes, sir, I'll see to it.
They've all been working on a plantation north somewhere. 2-year contract. They're dying to get home. It wouldn't have been quite right to turn them down. You may as well start them coming aboard, Mr. Jukes.
All right, sir. Ollie number 1, boy, Ollie same. Listen, you savvy, huh? Ollie fellow, catch him here. Topside, catch him, step, step, bottom side. Ollie time, chop, chop. Single file now. One fellow, one time, all the time. What do you suppose they carry in those boxes?
Oh, I suppose they're personal belongings, Mr. Jukes. And, of course, their 2 years' pay in silver dollars.
Well, they're as vicious a looking bunch of murderers as I've ever seen.
Murderers? Oh, come now, Mr. Jukes. 1 or 2 of them, maybe. But in the main, I'd say they're honest workmen. Have to be to stick out a 2-year contract on one of these plantations.
Just the same, sir. We'd better not take any chances.
No, I checked the lading weights carefully, Mr. Jukes. We can carry them without any overloading at all.
I mean that... All right, sir. I'd better go hide the silverware in the officer's mess.
He's a hard lad to understand sometimes.
I could say I had a premonition right then, and I wouldn't be lying. Anyway, that's how it started. At the hottest time of the year, 200 half-civilized coolies aboard, a captain with no more imagination than you could stick in your ear, we steamed out from Singapore and laid a course for the port of Foochow.
I tell you, Jukes, I don't like it. I don't like it a bit.
What don't you like about it, Mr. Rout?
Well, the looks of things. Something ominous about it.
Oh, there's a bit of a swell running all right. There's not a breath of wind. It's uncommonly hot, that's all. Gives a man the jumps. You're as bad as the second mate. He's been groaning around like the voice of doom all day.
Well,
Mr.
I don't
Jukes.
know.
Mr. Jukes!
Oh, that's the old man. I'll see you later. Keep your steam up, Mr. Rout. Are you calling me, Captain?
I was, Mr. Jukes. What was all the long conversation with Mr. Rout?
Oh, why, nothing much, sir. I didn't see any harm in talking a bit. I'm not on watch, you know.
Oh, no, nothing wrong with it, nothing at all. I just wondered what you could find to talk about.
Well, different things. I don't know.
I've seen people on shore sit around a table and talk for 2 or 3 hours. I never could understand it.
It's just conversation, that's all, about nothing in particular.
Seems pretty silly. Well, you've noticed the barometer, no doubt?
Yes, sir, it's dropping.
Falling fast. Quite low now. Take a look.
I'll say it's dropping.
Bad time of the year for that sort of thing. Very bad.
Anything you want me to do, sir?
Oh, no. Must be some uncommonly dirty weather knocking about somewhere. Eh, Mr. Jukes?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all. Just thought you ought to know about it, that's all. Carry on, sir, carry on.
heavy one, all right, mate. Them coolies must be having a time of it down below. Lucky for them, the old girl rolls easier than any ship I've ever seen.
You just wait.
Oh, you think we may be in for it, huh?
Oh, no. I don't think anything. You're not going to make a fool out of me that way, Mr. Jukes. I didn't say a word.
What's the matter with you, Second? Why shouldn't you say what you think if you're a mind to?
Oh, no, you don't catch me.
Whoa, there's another one. That's pretty rough. Now, whatever is about, we're steaming right into it.
You just try telling the old man that.
And why shouldn't I? Matter of fact, I think I'll ask him about this cross swell. It's getting worse all the time.
I've known skippers to break some right good men for saying a whole lot less.
Captain McWhirr.
Yes, Mr. Jukes. What is it?
The swell is getting a good deal worse, sir.
Yes, I noticed that in here. Anything wrong?
Well, I was thinking about the passengers.
Huh? What passengers?
Why, the coolies, sir.
Then if you mean coolies, say coolies, Mr. Jukes. A man ought to say what he means. What about the coolies?
She's rolling her decks full of water, sir. I thought you might want to put her head at the swell for a bit, until this goes down, of course.
So that's it, eh? Put her head at the swell, 4 points off the coast.
Well, it's just for a while, sir. A swell as high as this can't last long. That stands to reason.
Mr. Jukes, take a look at the barometer.
Good Lord.
Yes, exactly. It's a dead calm outside, isn't it?
There's not a breath of air stirring, sir. Only that cross swell.
I've been reading in the book here about storms. It's a funny thing. If a man believed everything written down here, he'd spend half his life running to get behind the weather. If I was to go by what this fellow says, I'd alter my course and come booming into Foochow from the north. 4 days late, 300 extra miles in distance, and a pretty bill for coal on top of it. I tell you, Mr. Jukes, if I knew every word in here was gospel true, I couldn't bring myself to do that.
No, sir, I guess not.
And how's a man to know if the book is right? If you dodge around a spot of dirty weather, how do you ever find out it was there in the first place? Answer me that. No, Mr. Jukes, there's things that a man can't get from books. I've thought it all out this afternoon. We'll hold her steady as she goes.
Whatever you say, sir. You're the captain. I guess I'd better write up the log. I'm going on watch.
Good. I dare say we're heading into something a bit out of the ordinary. Call me at once if anything shows up in the night, Mr. Jukes.
All right, sir. I'll see to it.
And, Mr. Jukes.
Yes, sir.
If you're going into the chart room, please close that blinking door. I can't stand to hear a door banging.
Yes, sir. 8 p.m. Swell increasing. Ship laboring heavily and taking water on all decks. Still a dead calm and very hot. Batten down the coolies for the night. The barometer is still falling. All appearances indicate an approaching typhoon. All right, Hackett, hold her steady as she goes. That's all we can do.
Aye, sir. I'll sure try to.
Well, do the best you can.
Aye, aye, sir. Mr. Jukes. Mr. Jukes.
Aye, Captain, I'm coming. Stand by.
Over here, Mr. Jukes. Starboard bridge rail.
Right, sir. Coming over.
Mr. Jukes, why didn't you call me?
Oh, there was no warning, sir. Hit us all of a sudden about 5 minutes ago. Blasted right out of a dead calm.
The book was right in some parts, anyhow. How's it go in the wheelhouse?
Hackett is... Look out, sir. Hang on.
What about Hackett?
He's on the wheel. Second is putting up shutters. The window glass will go if she starts breaking any higher.
Oh, she'll break higher, Mr. Jukes. Much higher.
It's a happy thought.
You haven't altered her course?
No, sir. Heading straight at the wind.
Good. Nothing else we can do, Mr. Jukes. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Some things a man can't find in books. Just keep her at it, that's all.
Captain, our boats are starting to break away.
That's all right.
But the boats, sir, 2 of them are gone now.
It can't be helped, Mr. Jukes. Hammering through a mess like this, you're bound to leave something behind. Stands to reason. Hold hard. She's still rising, all right. That one broke over the wheelhouse.
We're done for sure.
What's that, Mr. Jukes? You say something?
I said, is there any chance at all, sir? Can she live through it?
She may. We can hope so long, at least. She's a good ship. It's all a man can ask. What's that? Somebody yelling?
It's below us on the foredeck, sir. Up here, starboard bridge.
Man shouldn't be on that deck unless he has to. It's a bit dangerous.
You there, sir?
Over here. What's the trouble, bosun?
In Chinese, sir.
Wait, hang on.
The Chinese. What about them?
They've all fetched away, sir. One big lump. It's horrible.
Yeah, now what do you mean, fetched away?
Rolling around in the hold in one big lump. Screaming like bloomin' maniacs, sir. All adrift.
Mr. Jukes?
Yes, sir.
I can't make head nor tail of this. I guess you'd better go below and see to it. Put things in order.
Well, what shall I do, sir?
I can't tell you up here. Find out what's wrong. Straighten it out, that's all.
That's all?
Take the bosun with you. I'm going to try for the wheelhouse.
All right, sir. Come on, bosun.
Aye, sir.
Just straighten it out, that's all.
Well, how's the wheel stand, Hackett?
As steady as she goes, sir.
You realize, of course, we've hit a typhoon.
Aye, sir.
Sorry I can't give you relief. Can you manage a while longer?
I'll hold her to the course, sir, as long as there's a ship beneath her.
That won't be long.
Oh, anything wrong, Second?
Wrong. We're all as good as dead men, that's what's wrong.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. She's still afloat.
Ah.
And we've got it lucky here on deck. Plenty of chance to see what's coming before it hits us. A man always feels better when he can see what's coming. But it's a different story down below there. Not having knowledge of what's going on. Not knowing if we're afloat or sinking. Now there's the lads that's got it tough. The ones down there in the engine room.
Time now for the steam to drop. Here, ride that throttle, Beale. Can't let her rip her shaft out when she breaks clear of those swells. Hello, Bridge. Hello, Bridge. Confounded, why don't they answer the speaking tube? Can't tell if they're dead or alive up there. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Rout?
Captain, how is it on deck?
Bad enough. It depends mostly on you.
Well, so far so good. We're holding a full head of steam.
Good. We'll need it.
Don't let me drive her under, sir.
Have to take a chance. Can't see 20 feet up here. Got to keep moving enough to steer.
I understand, sir. Count on us.
Getting smashed about a good deal, but doing fairly well. As long as the wheelhouse stands. Wait, hold on.
Hello? Hello?
Is that the captain, Mr. Rout? I've got to talk to him right away.
Wait a minute, Jukes. Something's happened up there. Hello? Hello, Bridge?
You still there, Mr. Rout?
Right. Anything wrong, sir?
No, not now. The second mate's lost, though.
Overboard?
Oh, no. Lost his nerve. Awkward circumstance. Had to knock him out, too. Too bad.
You hear that, Jukes?
Yes, let me talk to him. Captain, Jukes here. The bosun and I just took a look at the tween deck. It's them bloomin' boxes, sir. They've all broke loose and smashed to bits. And the coolies are fighting like crazy men for them silver dollars that's rolling around.
Fighting? We can't have fighting on board, Mr. Jukes.
There are 200 of them, sir. They're all trying to kill each other.
I can't have it, Mr. Jukes. Put a stop to it at once, do you hear?
Put a stop to it? How? They're crazy mad. They'll kill anybody that came on that deck.
You're second in command, Mr. Jukes. Use your authority. Make it clear to them. We simply can't have fighting.
Make it clear to them?
Oh, yes, sir. After that, you'd better gather up all the money. I can't have it lying about on the deck. Get the bosun to help you. Wait. Here it comes.
Gee, Arsafat. There's the one that does it. That must have swept the deck from stem to stern. Hello? Hello, Captain McGuire. You all right up there?
Everything's all right, Mr. Rout. All the boats and half the starboard rail carried away. Nothing serious. There's nothing to worry about, Mr. Rout. Carry on.
Nothing to worry about. Carry on. You're all right, Captain. As you say, sir. Carry on.
Carry on?
Hey now, where you going? Where are you going, eh?
Where do you think I'm going, you loudmouthed old windbag? Out on that deck to get myself murdered.
Nothing serious, Jukes. Nothing to worry about.
The whole bloomin' world's falling apart, and I'm out picking up silver dollars. Captain's orders. Come on, Bosun.
Don't miss any, old Jukes. Carry on, boy. Carry on.
Blimey, sir. Look at him. Sure death to go among them.
No help for it. Our gallant skipper says to stop the fighting. Use our authority. All right, then, quiet down. Come on, Bosun.
Aye, sir.
Stow it there, you fools. Cut it out now, do you hear me? Authority, huh? You're clean out of their heads. We gotta drive them to the bulkhead. Back up now. Hey, none of that. Stay to it, Bosun. We gotta show them what for, nothing else to do. Back up there. Captain's orders, you know. Follow me, Bosun.
Thank you, sir. No, you don't. I was just thinking, sir.
Yeah, what about it? Back there, no fighting allowed. Skipper's orders.
I was just thinking. Oh, you don't. Thinking, what if me old lady could see me now?
She'd say, oh, you jolly sailor lad. Keep moving there. Jam him up, Bosun. Into the bulkhead. Captain. Where are you, Captain?
Over here, Mr. Jukes. You got everything cleared up down below?
Oh, yes. We took care of everything, sir.
I thought you would. The wind fell all at once, stopped cold. It's been like this for 10 minutes now.
If you think it was an easy job to bring that mob under control.
The coolies? Oh, I dare say it wasn't. Had to do what's fair by them, though. Mr. Jukes, that barometer in there stands at the lowest point I've ever seen a glass in my life.
You mean there'll be more of it?
The worst yet, according to the book. It'll break sudden now, any minute. A puff or two of wind, and then it hits.
She's taken a horrible beating, sir.
She has indeed. And she's in for a worse one.
We haven't much chance, have we, sir?
She may come through it. She's a good ship.
There's the first puff.
It'll hit us hard when it comes. You left them pretty safe, did you?
The coolies? We strung lifelines, gives them something to hold on to.
Good. I'd like to give them all the chance we can, whatever happens.
Oh, they'll be all right, sir. I broke out rifles for 8 of the crew, put them to guarding all the companionways leading off the 'tween deck.
You armed the crew, Mr. Jukes?
Oh, sure. We won't have any trouble with them now, sir.
Mr. Jukes, please have those rifles returned to the magazines at once.
What?
There'll be work for every man aboard in a few minutes. I can't spare seamen to stand around and hold rifles when it isn't necessary.
Isn't necessary? Don't you realize those savages will think we stole their money? But they'll tear us to bits if they ever get out of that deck.
Oh, I think they'll understand we're dealing fair by them. Collect the rifles, Mr. Jukes.
Captain, it's suicide. The best thing we can do is turn the whole mess over to the authorities in Fu Chao. If we ever get there.
Well, I don't know. I figure that when anything happens on shipboard, it's up to me to settle it on shipboard. Part of the duties of commanding a vessel, Mr. Jukes. I've no doubt I'll be able to reach an understanding with these men later.
Understanding? You ought to have seen him a while ago when me and the bosun was down there.
Lost their heads a bit, I guess. No wonder at that when... Here she comes. Pick up those rifles, Mr. Jukes, and something else.
Yes, Captain.
If anything happens to me, you'll be in charge. Only advice, keep her facing it. Best way to get through, facing it. That's enough for any man.
All right, Captain, I'll remember.
And one thing more, Mr. Jukes.
Yes, sir.
Something that always helps at sea is to keep a cool head. Just keep a cool head, Mr. Jukes.
Oh, no, keep a cool head. A stitch in time saves 9 a rolling stone. What in the name of heaven do you do with a man like that? There was a clear blue sky and bright sunshine the morning we steamed into Fu Chao Harbor. Mr. Rout was leaning on a hatch combing, smoking a pipe. And the bosun lounged on the foredeck, waiting to pick up a line from the wharf. And the captain? Well, he was engaged in a most unusual occupation.
Keep moving.
He was sitting at a table on the foredeck, handing out silver dollars to them blinking coolies.
All divided up even, the same amount to each one. Craziest thing you ever heard of in your life. You see, the way the captain figured it, since those blighters had all worked for 2 years at the same rate of pay, then their savings ought to all be about equal. As you can see, of course, that wasn't necessarily true by any means, wasn't even legal. But you couldn't tell him anything.
Well, that's that. Mr. Jukes.
Yes, sir. Coming, Captain.
Well, Mr. Jukes, I've disposed of our little collection of silver dollars.
That's great. Only wait till those boys get ashore and file claims against us.
Oh, no, they won't do that. As a matter of fact, they were quite pleased at having it arranged that way. Figured it might avoid a lot of arguments later. They sent a spokesman to thank me.
Well, I'll be...
Mr. Jukes, you may as well give all the hands 6 hours leave before we start working the cargo.
Whatever you say, Captain.
Oh, yes, and before the carpenter leaves, I wish you'd have him fix the lock on that port cabin door.
What?
That seems to have got broken somehow. During the storm, I suppose. I can't stand to hear a door banging, Mr. Jukes.
Aye, sir. I don't suppose it matters that the ship is battered from stem to stern, half her topside carried away, and smashed till she looks like a bloomin' Tinson freighter.
Mr. Jukes, I don't understand you.
You don't understand me, sir? Do you understand that we've come through the worst typhoon on the China Seas in 20 years? We're the only ship that got through?
It's true. I suppose we were a bit lucky.
Lucky, sir? With 200 murdering cutthroats running loose aboard and the very heavens doing their worst?
We had a job to do, and we did it. That's all, Mr. Jukes. That's the important thing.
Yes, sir. That's all. That's all, he says. A job to do. A bit lucky. What can you do with a man as thick as that? But then, as I started to turn away, Captain McWhirr said something else that surprised me. With emotion wrung from the very bottom of his soul, he uttered words I never thought I'd hear coming from so stupid a man.
But I'm glad we brought her through, Mr. Jukes. Truly I am. She's a good ship, Mr. Jukes. A good ship. I should have hated to lose her. I should have hated to lose her.
Typhoon by Joseph Conrad was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Frank Lovejoy as Jukes, Raymond Lawrence as Captain McWhirr, and Cy Kendall as Ralph the Engineer. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to Paris of 500 years ago in Robert Louis Stevenson's story of a fascinating adventure, the Sire de Maltroit's Door. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Escape. Escape tonight to Paris of 500 years ago.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the fifth, is The Sire de Maltroit's Door by Robert Louis Stevenson, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. The pen of Robert Louis Stevenson has been an avenue of escape for 3 generations. Our grandparents thrilled to the macabre metamorphosis of Dr. Jekyll, just as we will never forget the nursery menace called Long John Silver. Tonight we escape with Robert Louis Stevenson down another avenue, which leads to Paris in 1429, and the amazing adventure of the Sire de Maltroit's Door.
Dark of the moon, 1429, Paris. The House of Burgundy holds the throne of France, and English men-at-arms patrol the narrow streets. Troublous times for any man to be lost, on foot, at night. Psst! You there! Over here by the wall.
What's this? Now the shadows themselves are speaking.
I'm no shadow.
A real live human being.
I've managed to get myself lost in these confounded alleys. Can you tell me where I am?
Well, now, a fine young cavalier, no less. And he's lost.
I'm trying to find the Beaucent Inn. Will this street lead me there?
Lad, one street is as good as another, and none of them will ever lead a man anywhere.
Oh, come now. You must know something about this part of Paris. Think, man, a patrol may pass at any moment.
You're wanted, then.
I have a safe conduct pass from the captain of the garrison.
Safe conduct, he says. And to find what a good that'll do you here in the dark of the night.
Well, you're certainly not helping my chances any.
No, lad. The only safe conduct you have is that sword is swinging at your side.
Wait, quiet. A patrol. They're coming this way.
I'm inclined to think you're right.
I've got to run for it. Tell them nothing.
When I should tell what to whom?
Wait, halt! Someone's there. Speak up. Who are you?
Speak up, is it? And you a blundering pack of two-day grenadiers that walk like a herd of cattle, such as me? Speak up. That served with the mad Prince Charlie himself. May he rest in peace.
An old campaigner, eh? Hey, where you from, soldier?
Fontainebleau, from a smarter outfit in bivouac than the likes of you in quarters.
A bit in the scup, sir, man. Seen anybody about, old-timer?
Naught but shadows and tankards of ale. Fine French cavalier who departed hence without a bio leave just now.
Where'd he go?
Oh, who knows? Perhaps he went one way, maybe the other. Though I think it was the other there.
All right, men. Arms. French cavalier, eh? We'll have him like a fowl in a spit. Spread out. Cover the street. Keep an eye out. Don't let him slip away between you. Forward now. Search every corner.
Oh, the fool. The drunken fool. I'm for it now, all right. This cross street. There's a bare chance they'll pass it by. If I can only get through here. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a dead end, unless this leads... No, it's only the door to a house. Caught like a rat in a trap. All right. If it's so written, then so be it. With a bit of luck, there'll be 2 or 3 go with me. Huh? The door. It's unlocked. I can push it open. Black as the mouth of hell inside. Well, what have I got to lose? There.
Come alive now. You have to be here someplace. Not that door, you dullard. Can't you see the crest above it?
He's not here. He's gone.
That he has. Didn't come in here after all. All right, back to the corner. He's a sly one for sure.
That was close. Too close. Now to get out of here, and no one in the house will ever be the wiser. Huh? What's this? The door's locked. Well, it's a trap. But why? Why would such a thing be done? I came in here by chance, 1 chance against 1,000,000. Wait. It's a light. Somewhere inside the house. Well, by all rights, I should be dead at this moment. So...
Come in, young man. I've been expecting you all evening.
I fear you must be mistaken, sir. My visit is quite unexpected for both of us.
That's good. That's very good. For the both of us, you say. Well, no matter. You're here. That's the main point. Take a seat, my boy. Put yourself at ease. We'll arrange our little affairs presently.
Well, there seems to be some misunderstanding. You see, your door was standing at...
Oh, the door. That was a little piece of ingenuity, don't you agree?
So you must know that I had no intention of intruding without an invitation.
Without an invitation, is it? Well, we old people are used to such reluctance. When it touches our honor, we cast about until we find some way of overcoming it. And so, my boy, invitation or not, you are, believe me, most welcome.
I hope you'll pardon my saying it, but I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
Oh, so that's it, dead to rights but still pretending, eh? You're a clever rogue.
Sir,
right.
My name is Denis de Beaulieu. I am not a guest in your house by my own choice, and I am not accustomed to being
Nor is the house of Maltois accustomed to certain things, of which you well know.
Maltois? I should have expected better treatment at the hands of one of the most honored families of France.
Honored indeed, until you, Monsieur de Beaulieu, took it upon yourself to dishonor us.
Sire de Maltois, I have attempted to explain that I took a stand before your door to fight off a patrol which I'd encountered in the street. I assure you I had no slight intention of forcing myself Since it seems impossible for you to converse with any degree of reason, may I bid you good night? Sir, if you have your right wits, then you're insulting me grossly. And if not, I have no desire to spend further time with a lunatic.
You young fool. Thinking to get away so easily.
No power on earth can make me stay here any longer, even if I'm forced to hack that door of yours to pieces.
Ay me. And now, will you please sit down, my dear nephew?
Nephew? You lie in your teeth.
I said sit down. You think for a minute that I made a little contrivance for the door and stopped short with that? If you want to be bound hand and foot until your bones crack inside of you, then get up. Try to get away. But if you'd rather stay a free young buck, agreeably conversing with an old gentleman, sit where you are in peace.
You mean, then, I am a prisoner here?
I stated the facts. Draw your own conclusion. Ah, Père Francois, come in, come in.
Thank you, Messiah.
Tell me, how is she? A little better frame of mind, I hope?
She is more resigned, at least, Messiah.
Well, now, isn't she hard to please? A likely stripling such as this, well-born, and her own choice. What more would the jade dwarf have,
If you'll pardon, the situation is not usual for a young damsel. It is somewhat trying to her blushes.
Trying, is it? Ha! She should have thought of that before the dance began. She called the turns, and now she'll do the pay.
At the risk of being presumptuous, may I ask who she is?
Ha! You hear that, Père Francois? Monsieur de Beaulieu wishes to know who she is.
I heard, Messiah.
I am pleased that you find my most casual remark so amusing.
So, you'd like to know who she is. Very well. After all, you really should know, young fella. It's only fitting for you to be introduced properly. Come along, come along. I'll take you into she, all right. Why, that's the reason I planned the whole thing. You stubborn young scoundrelly blackguard. Come along, my boy. Right through this door.
After you, sir, if you don't mind.
Oh, no. It's not that kind of a trap. Here we are. How are you, my dear?
Oh, please, Uncle. Please have some pity on me.
Pity? But I do a great deal more than you've shown for the name of Maltois. Come now, up off your knees and look at the friend I brought you. It's good to be devout, but it is also necessary to be polite.
I have no understanding how you can be so vicious.
Oh, that's very unkind. And now, Monsieur de Beaulieu, since we've decided to keep up this farce, allow me to present my niece, Blanche de Maltois.
It's such an inhuman thing, surely heaven itself. He's not the man. My uncle, this is not the man.
Expected you to say as much, my dear. Is it so unfortunate you couldn't remember his name?
But it's true. I swear by the Blessed Virgin, I do not know this man. I've never laid eyes on him before. Please, sir, tell him. Tell him we've never seen each other before.
For myself, at any rate, I've never had that pleasure. Sire, I've not met your lovely niece before this moment.
Oh, now isn't that too bad? But it's never too late to begin. Quite often these impromptu marriages turn out very well in the end.
Marriage? Sire de Meltroit, would you please be kind enough to explain what you mean?
Aha, now, surely you've heard of the custom of marriage. It's quite widely practiced.
At least, sir, I've never heard before of such a maniac as I perceive you to be. And I've no intention of marrying anyone.
Then may I ask what were your intentions, my boy? Oh, well, no matter now. Père Francois is looking forward to performing the nuptial rites. Oh, he's quite properly ordained, you know. So, shall we say, in 2 hours? Meanwhile, I suggest you become better acquainted.
Wait! Uncle, you can't be in earnest. I swear to you I'll kill myself before I'll be forced on this young man.
Forced? Oh, come now, my dear Blanche.
Is it possible that you think I'm lying? That you still believe this is the man?
Frankly, I do.
Well, then you're wrong.
I refuse utterly even to consider
Enough, my
such...
dear. You took it upon yourself to dishonor the name of our family. You forfeited all right whatsoever to question my designs. I consider it a duty to see that you're married with as little delay as possible. Out of the goodness of my heart, I've attempted to find the man of your choice. And I believe I've done so. But if not, then I care not one jackstraw. Is that perfectly clear?
It's clear, sir, that you're a madman.
Perhaps, my dear nephew.
I'm not your nephew, nor will I be.
I'd sooner die 1,000 times.
Such a fury against the inevitable. But at any rate, you'll have 2 hours to compose your differences. Père Francois, bring the clock.
Very well, Messiah.
Thank you. Place it there. This, Monsieur de Beaulieu, is another of my little contrivances, and one that is hardly less ingenious than my door.
Messiah, your accomplishments are of no interest to me whatsoever.
Oh, I think you'll find this one most interesting. You will notice that the upper container is filled with water. In exactly 2 hours, all of the water will have dripped into the lower vessel, and at that time, I shall return. Remove the plug, Père Francois. Clever, isn't it? Well, genius is so rarely appreciated. And now I'm quite sure you'd sooner carry on your interview without an audience.
You'd never met my uncle before? He didn't arrange this with you?
I'd never laid eyes on him. And certainly nothing was arranged with me, else I wouldn't be here.
Oh, then you're as much an unfortunate victim as myself.
But you at least must be more aware of the circumstances. I can understand none of this.
It's not an easy thing for a girl to tell. Whatever you may think of me now, I fear you shall think the worse when I've finished.
Words are but words. But your manner encourages respect.
Thank you, monsieur. I've lived all my life with my uncle, and I've not been happy. 3 months ago, a young captain of the guard began to stand near me in the church. Oh, you must understand. I gave him no encouragement to do so.
Oh, quite so, I understand. He was handsome, of course.
As a matter of fact, very.
Hmm.
After a while, he began to pass me notes. He found me pleasing, wanted to meet me, and seemed most interested in me for some reason.
I can believe that.
This morning, he passed me a note urging me to leave the outer door open tonight so that he could speak a few words with me on the stairs. Oh, this is most difficult for me to tell, monsieur. I'm sure he meant no harm. I've no idea how my uncle came to suspect. Sometimes his shrewdness becomes almost diabolical. After church, he took that note from my hand, read it, gave it back to me. I've been kept in my room all day, knowing nothing of what he might be planning.
So that's it. By pure accident, I've blundered into a trap set for someone else.
Had my uncle brought the captain himself, the thing still would have been confusing. How should I know that he may not have been trifling with me all along? But to be forced into a situation with you, a perfect stranger...
Your regard for me is quite clear, mademoiselle. I regret appearing as a disappointment to you. I believe you said he was very handsome?
If that were all.
There's more?
I mean, monsieur, that you yourself are quite handsome. But it's so... Oh, no, it's really no use.
Well, please understand me. I'm not urging you in any way.
Urging, monsieur?
I'm accustomed to meeting young ladies upon occasion who are quite ready to accept me as something beside a convenient substitute for some handsome captain of the guard.
I've no doubt of it, monsieur. And to correct a mistaken impression you seem to have, I'm well aware that you're doing no urging. And were you to do so, I should neither listen to nor give it any consideration whatsoever. It's well that we both understand one another.
Quite so. And that being the case, Mademoiselle de Maltroit, I wonder if you'll be good enough to conduct me to your uncle.
With the greatest of pleasure, monsieur.
I've no doubt but what this little matter can be settled very quickly, and with as much honor as possible to everybody concerned.
The full 2 hours weren't necessary. Already harmonious accord rises triumphant.
On the contrary side, de Maltroit, your assumption is entirely false.
Oh, what a pity. Well, Père François, there's nothing to it. We'll simply have to wait a while longer.
As you say, Messiah.
I fear it may be much longer than you think. In fact, forever.
That's a very long time indeed. And you, my dear niece, what are your sentiments in the matter?
I will not marry this man. Do what you may, uncle, I will not marry him.
Right back where we started. Can it be that our young friend is lacking in perception, Père François?
It is possible, Messiah.
I'm not, at any rate, lacking in a sense of honorable conduct. Dragged in here against my will, I've addressed your niece in the manner of a gentleman. I found her charming, lovely, delightful.
Monsieur.
But now I have the honor of declining your offer of her hand. Let that end the matter.
It's not as simple as that. Take a look from my window there, and tell me what you see on the wall beneath it.
What do you mean?
See for yourself.
Whatever it is can have no bearing on the matter. There's an iron ring set in the wall.
Quite so, and fastened to the ring?
A rope.
Right. So we have 2 elements. And to complete our little diagram, we need a third one. That element is, at the moment, firmly attached to your body. I'm referring, sir, to your neck.
Uncle, no.
And may I inquire the purpose of the dogs there in the courtyard below? Are they also a part of your devilish plans?
My dear young man, a body doesn't hang in ropes forever, you know.
You maniac. Even murder doesn't stop you.
Ooh, that's such a nasty word. Let us confine ourselves to the bald facts. At the end of your 2 hours, you will prepare yourself either to marry my niece or to kick out your life while you swing at the end of that rope. There's no other alternative.
I think there's one. Between gentlemen, at any rate. Arm yourself, sir.
You fool. You think for a moment that if I'd regarded your sword as a threat, you'd still be wearing it? Père François, will you open that door to the passage, please?
Of course, Messiah. I'll be most happy to.
Gentlemen, show this rash young buck the color of your steel. Whether he likes to admit it or not, Monsieur de Beaulieu, one day a man grows too old to fight his own battles and must hire others to do it for him. Close the door, Père François.
Then you'll not fight?
Do I seem a fool? There'll be no fighting and no haughty refusal to marry my niece. You found her charming. Well and good. But I'll tell you this. Were she as common as the Paris road, more hideous than the gargoyle over my door, you'd not spurn the hand of a Maltroit and never live to tell of it. Alive and married you'll be, or dead and hanging from that window, and soon after, food for the dogs. It's one or the other. So, make up your mind.
Please, Monsieur de Beaulieu, why do you not sit down?
Your concern is most gratifying, mademoiselle. Since I have such a short time to live, I doubt that I'll grow very tired.
If the time be short, then why do we waste it in formal speeches?
As you will. Listen to it. Drip, drip, drip. That devilish clock, like an artery opened and life's blood itself dripping away.
Well, I've sat here and thought until my whole mind's in a great whirl.
Please, you really shouldn't trouble yourself so much.
I can't bear to have you slain for my sake. Monsieur de Beaulieu, I will marry you gladly.
You must think, then, that I stand very much in fear of death.
Oh, no. I've had reason to see that you're no coward.
I've asked for no pity. If a thing has to be, then that's the end of it.
Oh, sir, you misunderstood me. Why, the great nobility with which you faced my uncle should have removed all question about your bravery had such doubts existed.
That is most kind of you to say so.
Not, of course, that anyone could raise such questions once they'd seen you.
Death's another incident. That's all.
Oh, but life's a better one. You'll agree, then?
I'm afraid you underrate the difficulty. What your generosity offers me, my pride prevents accepting. In this moment of noble feeling toward me, aren't you forgetting what you already owe to someone else?
Monsieur! He never really mattered.
Mademoiselle, my very life's the forfeit here. One I'll pay gladly if it be of service to a lady, but to tell me it's for something that never really mattered.
Please don't be so cruel.
Cruel, you forget. I'm the one who's going to die, not you.
I've not forgotten, monsieur.
Yes. You'll enjoy tomorrow's sun like any other days. And tomorrow night, perhaps you'll see him again. And of course, I'll be forgotten.
Oh, no, never.
But it's all a man can expect when he's born into the world, death at last. And some piece of ironic misfortune.
Oh, don't say those things. I can't bear it.
Oh, if I've said anything to wound you, I'm sorry. It was for your own sake, not mine.
Thank you.
Please. It's a bitter thing, my dear, to see you in such distress that giving my life itself for you can't help it.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be braver. Is there no way at all in which I can serve you? Either now or afterwards?
Only by letting me think of you as a friend for the brief time that's left to us. By forgetting for the moment that I'm an awkward intruder thrown here by circumstance. That's all.
And afterward?
What does it matter? The closer you come to it, the clearer you see that death's no more than a dark and dusty corner where a man climbs into his tomb and shuts the door after himself.
Oh, monsieur.
I've only a few friends now. And once I'm dead, I've no doubt that I'll have none.
You forget Blanche de Maltois.
You're very sweet. Any young man in France would be glad to trade places with me and die for you. You value the small service I do you far beyond its worth.
I'll not have you thinking so meanly of yourself. Look at me. Would you say that I am beautiful?
I think the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
I'm glad of that. Tell me, is there a man in France who can say he's been asked in marriage by a beautiful maiden, asked from her own lips, and refused her to her face?
Oh, no.
I know you're a man and half despise such a triumph. But any woman knows more of what's precious in love.
But remember, you asked me out of the pity of your heart, not for love.
Oh, you're so sure of that? Must I bear my very soul like a merchant showcase?
You're very good. As good as you're beautiful. I'll not forget it for the time that's left me.
Very well. I, too, have a pride of my own. If you'd turn back now from your word, I'd no more marry you than I would any stranger off the street.
It's a small love that shies at a little pride. The dawn's starting to break.
Yes. My uncle and his men will come here any moment. What shall we say to him?
Anything you will.
Oh. All of my life I'll weep for you. And weep the more because it was you.
If I'm wrong, it's a great price I'm paying for it. One I'd not pay if I didn't care for you so dearly.
Care for me? Oh, no, it's you who are being kind.
It was in the moment your uncle brought me into you and you raised your face to look at me. That's when I knew.
Oh, strange. For it was then I felt it too.
You've seen already that I'm not afraid to die.
Oh, you're not. I know it.
Blanche, is it really true, not something born of pity?
I swear by all that's holy. I love you, Denis.
Oh, my beloved. And I can tell you now that I love you, too.
Even after all you've
I
heard.
can remember none of it.
The captain's
No
name.
matter. I love you.
Oh, my darling.
I love you more than my life and my soul. Blanche, my darling, I love you. I love you, Blanche.
Well,
Uncle.
Well. It's most gratifying to see this little matter settle in such a congenial fashion. Good morning, my dear nephew.
I have nothing to say to you, sir. You're a vicious and unprincipled old man.
Oh, that's most ungracious of you. No. At the very worst, I'm no more than a very wise old man. One who's lived a long time and seen a great many remarkable things. An old man who's learned all about such mysteries as the love of life and love.
The Sire de Maltroit's Door by Robert Louis Stevenson was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Elliot Lewis as Denis, Peggy Weber as Blanche, and Ramsey Hill as the Sire de Maltroit. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fewer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to Egypt of 3,500 years ago with Arthur Conan Doyle's fascinating tale of the Ring of Thoth. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Escape. Escape tonight to ancient Egypt.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the sixth, is The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Wherever the English language is spoken, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is known for two things: his immortal character, Sherlock Holmes, and his unshakable belief in life beyond the grave. So great is the stature of Sherlock Holmes that Conan Doyle's earlier stories are all but forgotten. Stories like The Ring of Thoth, which so clearly anticipates the author's later fascination with spiritualism. We invite you now to escape to ancient Egypt and The Ring of Thoth, an adventure told in the words of John Vansittart Smith, British Egyptologist.
I arrived in Paris on the 3:14 express from Dieppe and went immediately to my hotel in the Rue de Lafitte. My actions so far had worked out according to my planned schedule. I slept for exactly 2 hours, got up and dressed, donned a greatcoat, walked down the Avenue de l'Opéra, and entered a side door of the Louvre. Once inside, and amid surroundings entirely familiar to me, I made my way immediately to the Chamber of Egyptian Relics, or more specifically, to the cabinet in that chamber which contained the El Kab collection of papyri. Drawing out the particular roll I wished, I placed it on a nearby table, sat down, began to study it, when I noticed one of the museum attendants who was polishing some brasswork across the room. His face struck me as being curiously Egyptian. On sudden impulse, I decided to cross the room and speak to him. Approaching closer, I was impressed at once by the appearance of his skin. Drawn tautly across temple and cheek, it seemed as glazed and as shiny as varnished parchment, and out of narrowed slits there glowed two green and vitreous eyes, misty with a dry shininess, eyes of a kind never seen in a human head before. I beg your pardon. I need one of the papyri from the Memphis collection. Could you tell me where it is?
You'll find it in the last cabinet at the end of the room, monsieur.
Thank you. You're Egyptian, aren't you?
No, monsieur. I am a Frenchman.
But, I thought perhaps
If
that...
monsieur will excuse me now, I have other work to do.
I went back to the table and took up the papyrus I had been studying before. But my former calmness in translating the intricate hieroglyphics was gone, and out of the depths of my mind welled a feeling of terrible familiarity. I concentrated more deeply on my studies, pushing aside those thoughts conducive to mental turmoil, and at last, worn out by the inward struggle, I fell asleep. I awoke with a start, not remembering where I was. It was quite dark for a moment. Then gradually my eyes focused on the glints of moonlight reflected from the glass tops of specimen tables, from the shiny varnish of the mummy cases, and I realized with a feeling of sudden dread that I was alone in the Egyptian room of the Museum of the Louvre, locked in for the night. And I saw at that moment, approaching through the moonlit halls, a dim yellow flame. Nearer and nearer it came until I could perceive above it, as though floating in the air, the eerie, glistening face of the man I'd spoken to earlier. I shrank into the dark shadow of my corner, and he passed without seeing me, stopping before the mummy cases a few yards away. Scarcely daring to breathe, I watched him place the light on a table and begin feverishly to examine the tags on the specimens. In a moment, he gave a cry of delight, and, drawing one of the mummies from its resting place, laid it on the table in the full glow of the lantern and set to work. He was unwinding the wrappings from the head of the corpse. A few turns revealed a tumbled cascade of black curls. A few more, the snow-white brow, then the delicate nostrils, and at last, the full, warm, passionate lips, the face of the most beautiful woman the world has ever seen.
Ah, ma pauvre petite, so long it has been, so very long. You must forgive me, beloved.
I could hardly believe my eyes. The man was obviously in love with this mummy. After a while, he left the body, turning his attention to one of the glass cases filled with an assortment of rings. From a pocket of his garment, he'd taken a small glass bottle containing some kind of liquid, and he used this now to test the rings, rejecting them one after another. Then, at last...
This is it. It's the one. At last I found it. The ring of Thoth.
In his excitement, he dropped the bottle, and I gasped in surprise at the sudden sound.
Who's there?
I beg your pardon.
So it is you. No, do not move.
I didn't mean to spy on you. I fell asleep.
Who are you, monsieur?
I am John Vansittart Smith, a student of Egyptology.
No matter. You will observe this knife.
Yes?
Had I discovered you 5 minutes ago, monsieur, I should have slain you without a word.
What?
As it is now, I have found the ring. But I warn you not to interfere with me in any way.
I really haven't the slightest intention of it. After all, I'm only here by accident.
Perhaps.
I say, you shouldn't have unwrapped that mummy, you know. It's starting to deteriorate already.
Oh, my beloved.
Yes, before our eyes, the lovely face was crumbling, the hair falling away, the skin shriveling and cracking, the lips fading. The man hovered over the decaying body a moment, murmuring sorrowfully. And then he turned again.
No matter. That will not make the least difference in a little while. Of what importance is the dead shell, so long as her spirit waits for me at the other side of the veil?
What are you talking about? What is it you're proposing to do?
Tonight, monsieur, I have ended a quest and broken at last the ancient curse. Nothing now can prevent my joining her.
Are you actually claiming that you knew her?
She was Atma, daughter of the governor of Abaris, and both she and I lived in the reign of Tutmosis 3,500 years ago.
You're obviously mad.
Perhaps, but not in the way you think. There may be design in this, your coming here. It may be decreed that I should leave some account behind as a warning to other mortals as rash as myself. Very well, then. So be it. I am, as you surmised, an Egyptian. My name was Sasra, and my father had been the chief priest of Osiris in the great temple of Abaris, which stood in those days upon the Bubastic branch of the Nile. I was brought up in the temple and was trained in all those mystic arts and sciences known to the priesthood. Of all the mysteries that I studied, none intrigued me more than the question of life and death. And even to this question, in time, I found an answer.
But for a man to live beyond his allotted span of years, Master Sastra, the gods have not so ordained it.
Then perhaps they will have to revise their ordinances now that I've discovered their secret.
'Tis not well to jest. I tremble, for though I've labored in your service for a year, I knew not the goal of your endeavors. May Osiris forgive me.
Ah, what a pity you look upon it this way. For I'd thought that in return for your assistance, I should grant you, too, the gift of centuries of indestructible life.
I would not have it, Master Sastra, and I beg that you, too, forgo it.
Forgo it? I introduced the fluid into my veins 1 month ago.
Oh, no. Then you are lost indeed.
Lost? Do you call this being lost? Let's see now. My heart should be about here.
Oh, that knife. No, don't. Master, you've killed yourself.
Not at all. See? It bleeds a little. But in a while, the wound will close up. And that's all.
It's immortality.
No. I shall not live forever. But for 5,000, perhaps 6,000 years, I shall be immune from all dangers of violence, poison, disease, starvation.
You cannot die?
Now, with this fluid in my veins, nothing in this world can end my life.
Sastra, are you there?
Someone calls.
It's Parmes, the priest of Thoth. In here, my friend. Enter.
Oh, greetings, Sastra, master of sciences, and his worthy assistant.
If you will excuse me, masters, I go to make my peace with Osiris.
What's wrong with your helper, Sastra?
The thought of a well-nigh eternal life has frightened him into gibbering superstition.
Then you still believe in the discovery?
Believe in it? Parmes, my friend. Look.
By the heavens, what a scar.
It pierces the heart. It was done only a moment ago with this knife. See? I can put it back in the wound. So.
You suffered no ill effects?
None whatever.
And if I turned the knife in the wound, that would do you no harm?
You may try it. I feel nothing. I walked last week in the snake pits by the river, was struck innumerable times. It caused no harm.
By the great Anubis.
Will you have it then? Out of all Egypt, I have chosen only you, my friend, to share the gift. But the choice is yours.
I'd be a fool to refuse, Sasra. I'll have it. And now, what must I do?
First, we must open a vein in your wrist, like this.
Oh.
Then, we drip the elixir slowly into your bloodstream. Steady now.
I don't feel anything.
There is no sensation. It is done.
So simple? There is nothing more?
That's all. And now done, it can never be changed.
It seems incredible, supernatural.
It's no more than a chemical discovery, but with it, while all this about us passes away, you and I, Parmes, will live on for 50 centuries. Think of it, my friend. 5,000 years of life.
5,000 years. Only the two of us.
Listen, that noise. Some procession must be passing in the street.
I have an idea what it may be. Come on over to the window.
Beloved of heaven, clear the road, stand back, and make way for the loveliest pearl of Thebes.
She's being carried on the shoulders of slaves, Parmes. She must be some woman of rank.
Her name is Atma. She's the daughter of the new governor.
Her curtains are drawn back. Perhaps we'll have a look at her. Oh, Parmes.
Mm-hmm. Is she not beautiful?
She is the most desirable, the only utterly desirable woman I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. I saw her yesterday at the temple.
Then you're most fortunate, my friend. You've had 24 more hours to dream about her than I have had. I must know her, Parmes. I must make her love me. I'll send gifts. I'll call on her tomorrow. Oh, it has to be then. I couldn't wait any longer than tomorrow.
A visitor calls upon the beloved of the universe. He is Sasra, priest of the temple of Osiris.
Well, bid him approach.
Enter, Sasra.
Oh, most beautiful of all Egypt, I cast myself at your feet.
That's a noble ambition. But wouldn't it be much better to sit here beside me and watch the fish in the fountain?
Much better.
You will all withdraw, except you, my girl. Play something for us, at a distance. Well, Sasra, for so I understand you're called, am I to deem this an official visit by a master of the temple?
Oh, Atma, my beloved. That is, no, it is not official.
Oh? Perhaps then you wish to see my father on personal business of your own.
Oh, no. No. I shall pay my respects to him at some other time.
Then could it be I you've come to see?
Yes, yes.
And since you've said the visit's not official, your reason must be a personal one.
Oh, it is.
Well, what is it?
Atma, I have known women who are famed for their beauty throughout the valley of the Nile. But not one, not all of them, are so lovely as you.
How thoughtful of you to come here and tell me.
Atma, I've no wish to intrude my desires, my hopes, beyond such extent as you may wish to hear. But, oh, I'm finding this very difficult.
Sasra, I've been told that you're a master of science, that you've unlocked the secrets of the universe, learned all the mysteries of nature itself.
Your informants have been most generous.
Yes, I'm inclined to think so.
What?
Because you've discovered nothing at all about such a simple thing as a woman's heart.
What do you mean?
I come from Thebes, and the women of Thebes are warm-blooded, passionate, and we know what we want.
Atma.
I saw you first 3 days ago. Why do you think I told my bearers to carry me down that street beneath your window?
And so, miracle of all miracles, Atma loved me. Worshipping the very ground her feet had trod upon, I lived through those glorious weeks, and with it all, our love grew apace. But one thing bore heavily upon my mind, and I came to speak of it more often to my beloved as we sat and talked by the fountain in her garden.
Look, Sasra. See how the stars shine from the water?
Yes, Atma. More lovely even than their glow in the heavens.
Are they very old, the stars?
Very old, beloved. As old as time.
And they'll go on gleaming there, long years after you and I are gone and forgotten.
Atma, my dearest, we've talked of this before, and I know it distresses you to think of it.
No, Sasra. Tonight everything is beautiful. We shall not talk of death.
Not of death, but of life. They're only counterparts of one another.
Oh, if we could only live together. Grow old together and die in the same instant.
But how much better to live and love 5,000 years? Will you not do it? Does so long a time seem too great for the love you feel for me?
Beloved, no. The time would pass in an instant, and the loss then be no easier borne than now.
Then why draw back? Will you not take the elixir now, tonight?
I'm afraid, Sasra. We'll anger the gods.
We will outlive the gods.
They will have their revenge.
Whatever occurred, we'd be together.
Yes, I've thought of that. Were it not so, I'd not even consider doing it.
Then you'll do it. Atma, you'll do it.
I need more time, only a little more to assure myself.
How much?
Tonight, Sasra. Give me tonight.
Every hour you live without the elixir is another hazard. All right, then. Tonight. And may Isis herself guard over you until the fluid courses in your veins. And so, on that accursed night, I went to my chambers and slept. And while I slept, the moon of Isis shone over the delta of the Nile. Shone but to light as foul a scene as was ever done on earth. Some hours had passed away.
Master Sasra, awaken! Master, awaken at once.
You know, who is it?
Oh, what a terrible thing has transpired this night.
You're one of Atma's slaves. Why do you come here?
Oh, Master, Master.
What has happened? What's the matter? Speak.
It is she, the light of the world.
Tell me what has happened to her.
Master. Brigands came in the night. She is dead.
You lie. You lie.
Oh, Sasra, the slave speaks the truth.
Parmes, my friend. What foul joke's behind these words of his?
It's not a joke. Atma is dead. You, slave, depart from us.
Yes, masters. By your gracious leave, I depart.
Such a thing cannot be. Oh, of course. The two of you planned it together, sought to frighten me out of my wits. It's very amusing, really. But I was terrified for a moment.
Atma no longer lives. She was stabbed to death only a short while ago.
No. Oh, no. She can't be dead.
She is dead, Sosra, and for all eternity.
I must go to her. Surely something can be done.
I killed her.
What is it? What has happened?
I killed her.
Oh.
I struck her through the heart with this very knife.
You, Parmes. Why?
Because she loved you.
Why?
And because I loved her.
You, my friend.
She would not look at me.
And for that you would lose her to both of us forever?
To both of us, Sosra? I think not.
By the living Osiris, give me that knife.
That's it. Strike. Again. Here's the heart. Here, strike. Again and again, Sosra.
Wait. What foolishness. I cannot kill you.
You're wrong, Sosra. You have killed me. Those were grievous blows.
But the fluid, that cursed elixir of life, it runs in your veins as well as mine.
True. But in mine is also the antidote.
You lie. There is no antidote.
Yes, day and night, these many weeks, I've worked, and I found it.
You couldn't have. Is there more of it?
Yes, a very little. But you'll never find it.
Where is it? Tell me where it is.
In the ring, Sasra. In the ring of Thoth, and you'll never find it.
I will, I must.
Go on, live. Live your 50 centuries. And every hour of them, think. It was your hand that struck me down with the same knife that took her from you. Think while I go to join her.
Oh, no. You're not dead. You're not! No! 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 For months, I searched the papers, test tubes, and the chemical flasks in the chambers of the dead priest of Thoth. Searched and found nothing. I sifted the sands where he'd walked, questioned his slaves and servants, and learned nothing. Every moment of my life, my terrible and unwanted life, was devoted to an unceasing hunt for the ring of Thoth, and all to no avail. And in time, a horde of barbarians overran the city of Abaris. And the sands of the desert buried forever the last of my hopes. And so began the deadly march of the centuries. How can you know how terrible a thing time is? You, who've experienced only the narrow course between the cradle and the grave. I've floated down the whole stream of history. I have traveled in all lands, and I have dwelt with all nations. Every tongue is the same to me. I need not tell you how slowly the centuries drifted by. Centuries without end, years without number. And so I came to be one day, a few weeks past, in San Francisco, where I came across a certain item in a newspaper.
Among recent discoveries in Lower Egypt is an unopened mummy case containing, according to the inscription on the outside, the body of the daughter of the governor of Abaris in the days of Tutmosis. In the same burial crypt, dropped into a crevice between the stones, was found a large platinum ring of singular design. Both specimens have been sent for examination to the Louvre in Paris.
So, I presume you came here to Paris, obtained this position of attendant in the Louvre with the idea of...
Only yesterday, Monsieur Smith. As you may imagine, I had little difficulty in convincing the director of my knowledge of Egyptian relics.
The ring, then. The one I saw you remove from the case is the ring of Thoth?
Without question.
You've discovered how the ring must be used?
The secret is obvious. See, the stone is hollow, and drops of liquid move within it.
Have you considered the possibility that this antidote may not perform the function which has been claimed for it?
It will, monsieur. And there'll be no need of a knife to strike me down. My death was due in a time long past, and only this damnable fluid that runs through my veins supports the weight of my years. I delay no longer. I go to join her where she waits for me in death.
No, don't. Oh.
Too late. I've broken the gem. I've taken the antidote.
I stood and watched him with a terrible fascination, but without pity and without compassion. He turned away from me and reeled toward the mummy he'd left on the table across the room. But even as he turned, the parchment skin of his face cracked and shredded. Discolored lips shriveled away from the yellow teeth. the vitreous eyes withered into nubs of formless plasm, and the full weight of his 3,500 years descended on him in an instant. I left that room of death and walked over the marble floors toward the exit, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls, even as they had echoed for so long in the corridors of time. And I wondered as I walked if Sosra knew now what I knew, that the antidote in the ring of Thoth can bring death to the body, but not to the soul. And I wondered in what cloak of flesh his spirit now dwelt, just as I, Parmes, priest of Thoth, had for the last 40 years of my 3,500 dwelt in the body of John Vansittart Smith.
Doctor, he's so little and so red.
Well, now, he's only 2 days old.
But he doesn't look a bit like either his father or me.
Give him time, my dear. All babies look pretty much alike when they're first born.
Well, I don't know. His eyes, it's silly, of course, but he looks like an Egyptian.
Produced and directed by William N. Robeson, The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Jack Webb as Sosra, Thomas Freebairn Smith as Vansittart Smith, and Joan Banks as Atma. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fewer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to a raft in the South Pacific with John Russell in his unforgettable story of human frailty, The Fourth Man. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.